Hello, here we are once again doing number 8 in our series on the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act on Fair Debt Collection. This is starting with section 1692G of Title 15. That would be on the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission document, section 809, validation of debts. Once again, this is not legal advice. It is only my opinion. I am not an attorney, nor am I a lawyer, nor do I want to be. It is our responsibility to learn the law and to put the law to our advantage. So that's why we're doing these videos, so that we can learn the law and be able to put it to our advantage and help us to win in court, or even before we get to court, against rogue debt collectors and debt collectors who just refuse to follow the law. Anyway, we'll get started. 1692G, validation of debts. A. Notice of debt contents within 5 days after the initial communication with a consumer in connection with the collection of any debt, a debt collector shall, unless the following information is contained in the initial communication or the consumer has paid the debt, send the consumer a written notice containing the amount of the debt, 2. the name of the creditor to whom the debt is owed, 3. a statement that unless the consumer within 30 days after receipt of the notice disputes the validity of the debt or any portion thereof, the debt will be assumed to be valid by the debt collector. It doesn't mean that it is valid. It means that it will be assumed to be valid. Number 4. A statement that if the consumer notifies the debt collector in writing within the 30-day period that the debt or any portion thereof is disputed, the debt collector will obtain verification of the debt or a copy of a judgment against the consumer, and a copy of such verification or judgment will be mailed to the consumer by the debt collector. So they won't have a judgment unless you know about it, unless there's some. It might vary in different states, in different jurisdictions, but they would generally have to take you to court in order to get a judgment. Now, if they sent you legal process and you failed to show up, which happens to a lot of people because they just don't know what to do, and then they get what's called a default judgment, then they can come after you with that. A statement that if the consumer notifies the debt collector in writing within the 30-day period that the debt or any portion thereof is disputed, the debt collector will obtain verification of the debt or a copy of a judgment against the consumer, and a copy of such verification or judgment will be mailed to the consumer by the debt collector. And 5. A statement that upon the consumer's written request within the 30-day period, the debt collector will provide the consumer with the name and address of the original creditor if different from the current creditor. Disputed debts. If the consumer notifies the debt collector in writing within the 30-day period described in subsection A, that was the first one I read in this video, that the debt or any portion thereof is disputed, or that the consumer requests the name and address of the original creditor, the debt collector shall cease collection of the debt or any disputed portion thereof until the debt collector obtains verification of the debt or a copy of a judgment, or the name and address of the original creditor, and a copy of such verification or judgment, or name and address of the original creditor is mailed to the consumer by the debt collector. Now, just because they mail you something doesn't mean that it's valid. It's just a copy. C. Admission of liability. The failure of a consumer to dispute the validity of a debt under this section may not be construed by any court as an admission of liability by the consumer. That's very important. Don't let any debt collector tell you that just because you failed to dispute that the court is going to say that this debt is valid, and then the debt collector is going to try to trick you by that into sending money, sending a payment. It's not valid until until they validate it with the proper means. Anyway, that ends this video. Once again, this is not legal advice. It's my opinion only, and it's for educational purposes only. If you want to learn more, you can go to my website, creditforbadcreditforyou.com. There's a lot more information there. You can learn how to sign up for a free webinar and learn how to turn the tables on debt collectors and start collecting money from them. How much fun would that be? So go to the website and take a look and sign up for the free webinar, and learn how you can get on weekly calls and learn how to get in a community of people that are doing this on a regular basis. Thanks. We'll catch you on the next video.